Hello everyone and welcome back to the Canary Central channel, and Norwich City take on Blackburn Rovers, a team fighting in the relegation scrap just as we are. Both teams really looking like if they can get the 3 points, they are both getting that inch closer to safety. And especially for Blackburn, sat 21st in the Championship at the minute. It's probably what has been a disaster season for them. I mean, finishing seventh last season, almost getting playoffs by just a point. And then, this disaster class it seems to be for Blackburn this season. I mean, you could say the same for us similarly, but with their head coach being sacked last week, it does look like Robbie Savage could be joining Blackburn Rovers, but that is a big rumour at the minute, which looks like he could be getting a job. But at the minute, they are under Damien Johnson as interim head coach. He seems to be doing really well for Blackburn at the minute, getting a 1-0 win up against Sheffield Wednesday, who, seems to be a really big win for them, going outside of the relegation zone from 22nd to 21st. And with this huge relegation scrap that is happening between probably, I would argue, 23rd and potentially 17th, with the likes of Leicester City getting a 6-point deduction, now sat 20th in the Championship after financial breaching, which has now left them to be in the likes of the relegation scrap between us, Blackburn and West Brom, and it really has heated up that relegation fight, and it's actually given us an advantage. So if we do win, it really will help us further up the table if we can, and overleap the likes of Swansea and potentially Sheffield United, and probably even Birmingham City if we continue the form that we are on. And going back to Blackburn Rovers getting a 1-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday, it does look like they are in seriously good form. I know it's Sheffield Wednesday, but still, that momentum that they're going to start getting and that winning culture they could potentially have on the run here could be a serious threat up against us. And we're going to have to take some pinch of salt up against Blackburn, because it does look like they are really going to put up a fight against us at Carrow Road, with the likes of Todd Cantwell returning to Carrow Road, where he hasn't been back since the last couple of years, where he signed for Blackburn Rovers last season, and is now playing for them on a regular basis, now being club captain. And for the last year and a half, he has led Blackburn Rovers through some really tough points, and some highs, almost getting into the playoffs, as I've said last year. But it does look like it's a big relegation scrap, and with Todd Cantwell playing for us since the youth academy days, and it will be one big return. And yes, that that time when he did leave was a bit of a crazy time for him, for topics we won't get into. It will be interesting to see the fan reception of him coming back to Carrow tomorrow. I would assume he'd get applause. I'd applaud him for what he's done. But yeah, now we move on to Norwich City. Currently sat 18th of the league, where we were currently sat 19th, but with Leicester City having that 6-point deduction, it has boosted our position further up in the table, having us sat 18th. And with the transfer window now shut, all the transfers have been decided for us by the man Ben Napper, and it does look like some really good quality signings have been made. And players such as Mohamed Toure, Ali Ahmed, Paris Maguma, Harry Amas and Sam Field, 5 new signings in that transfer window, and they all look really good quality signings. Some look like they could be ahead for the future, as it does seem to be with players such as Ante Cernak and Zugov Makama, etc. But we've got some experienced players in there, such as Sam Field, who can really help us in that 50-50 challenges and intercepting the ball and actually being able to play left back, which, due to Harry Amas's serious injury, quote unquote, from Felipe Clement, he can play in that position while Harry Amas is going through this real terrible injury. And if he does have to have his loan terminated, seeing him play for only 15 minutes is such a sad thing to see, because the potential he could have had at Norwich City. But it's not over yet, because we could see him still play for us. But we could see players such as Sam Field play, not in probably that CDM position. Potentially it might be filled by Jacob Wright, who did play in that position up against Middlesbrough. It wasn't his best performance in a Norwich City shirt. Yes, he has played in that centre attacking midfield spot, which I think he's more suited to, but players such as Oscar Schwartau and Anna Spencer-Mane are now having to be played in that position, because obviously they are now completely in form, and Anna Spencer-Mane is absolutely on fire at the minute. We thought he was going to leave in the summer, he has now become an absolutely incredibly rejuvenated player under Felipe Clement, as shown up against the likes of Coventry and Wrexham. But players such as Josh Sargent are probably not going to start, obviously, or play whatsoever, as has been shown, and he can still go as the MLS transfer window does shut on the 28th of March, so there's about 2 months for him to sign that deal with Toronto. But Norwich City do want that increased bid of £18 million. He has had interest from Sunderland and Leeds United, but it doesn't seem like he could join. But you've got players such as Mohamed Toure being signed, obviously, and who look like they could be on the bench. I don't see him starting, but I think if we can get a few games into him and hopefully play him in the FA Cup game to see what he's truly about up against West Brom. But yes, we have, like I said, Sam Field. Paris Magamel, I would say, needs to be on the bench at least. I mean, with him not starting up against Middlesbrough or on the bench against Middlesbrough was a bit of surprise in my opinion, especially for the money we paid for him so far. But still, I think he has so much potential. Obviously, he is a cam and a centre midfielder, and we have loads of players in that position, so he will be fighting for that starting place. But I think with the amount of training sessions he would have had now, I think Felipe Clement would say, yeah, it's time to put him in. But Norwich City look like they could really pull off a display here if they do play their cards right, because Blackburn will be going in for a fight. It's an early kickoff, which is pretty nice. So, hopefully Norwich City do well. My predicted lineup would be Vladan Kovacic in goal. At the back, potentially Ben Crescene, maybe Sam Field will play in there. But then at the back, I would go for Jose Cordova and Rory McConville. And then on the right back, I would go for Kellen Fisher. In midfield, I would probably go for Sam Field and Kenny McLean, who has been nominated for PFA Player of the Month. Congratulations to him. And in the centre attacking midfield, I'd go for Anna Spencer-Mane, Ali Ahmed, and potentially Papi Amadou Diallo. And up top, obviously, Yovan Makama. He looks to absolutely be incredible at the minute. Yes, obviously, his goals have dried up, but I would say that he will start picking those goals up, hopefully, again. But I think this team effort at the minute that we've started to build, especially against the likes of West Brom with the goal-scoring ability that we have had, I don't care if Yovan Makama doesn't score, as long as the team is playing well and that the team are getting quite a few goals in their respective manner. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, we do really well up against Blackburn tomorrow. It should be a very interesting game, and might be a different review tomorrow. Might include an interview potentially on there, so it should be very, very interesting if we do, for whatever happens tomorrow, and hopefully we do win. I'm going for 3-1. It does seem like it could be a potential incredible game for us, and hopefully it all goes to plan. Thank you very much. Cheers. Come Yellows. See you later, and goodbye.